Hello, everyone. Just like usually, it doesn't work as I expected. This is, I think, about the fifth time I'm trying to record something. The more I do it, the more it feels awkward. Well, anyway, as you see, I'm not in the office at the moment. And because I saw there were about 400 people who were interested in my previous video on postdoctoral fellowships. So I thought that even though I am not in the office at the moment, I could record something and by doing this, help you or provide you with some kind of inspiration if you are stuck in your project writing. So I hope that you watched my previous video introducing all the materials that are crucial for your project writing and why you need it. Uh, well, if you didn't, I would also recommend watch the interview with Alena because in this interview, I talked with her about her own writing process. And you might notice that she mentioned it wasn't a big problem for her to write, but the point was that she knew the host institution really well. She knew the people she would be working with. And we have audience. Well, obviously this is public place, so I'm not going to be alone here. Anyway, so that was the interview with Alana and the reason why I did it, so that you could be inspired in your project writing. But at the moment, I believe you already have your host institution and you should by now be clear with your research question. And well, it could be really good to be clear about methodology. So your research question should be um, written in a way that is clear, and your reviewers will clearly know what you want to achieve and why. What are you asking yourself? Because based on this is kind of like core. And based on this, they are going to evaluate the methodology. So whether the methodology is going to answer your research question and bring the expected results. So it's chapter 1.1 of your project proposal, but then we have so many other chapters. And if you already read the template through, which I hope at the moment you did, you saw that the rest of the chapters focuses more on people. They always ask you about what you do, with whom you will interact, and what either you or other actors are going to gain from this project proposal. Uh, so there is one important thing that you really need to avoid. When you read the project template, you will see that they use really abstract words. The reason why they do it is to give us space. If they use abstract words, you can give them your specific meaning. So this is now your job to find specific information by which you are going to build your project story in the coming 2 or 3 years, depending whether you apply for global fellowship or European fellowship. So, where to get these facts? You can get these facts only by understanding the environment you are heading towards, meaning knowing the host institution, department you are going to be hosted by, and your colleagues. In that previous video, I think I definitely recommended web pages where researchers share their successful project application. And in one of them, you can see that the applicant talked really in specific words about the situation. So he even mentioned names, topics of research these people focus on, what kind of networks they are involved. And bringing these details into your project story is what makes it all credible, because your reviewers can imagine you in the situation and can imagine what you will gain by interacting with these people, and can imagine why you chose these people based on your research idea. So again, your research question is always in the center of all this writing. But then, whichever question they give you in the rest of the project template, you always have to look at this question through the lens of your own research topic and the place you are going to be working in. So, to be very specific, you need to understand almost everything about your supervisor. What kind of networks is he in? What kind of subject is he teaching? Where you could help him, number one, and where he can help you. Be aware of the fact that your supervisor usually doesn't have that much time. So again, consider the fact that he won't have that much time. So you need to get a lot of information from other resources than just your supervisor. So try to seek for these other resources within the institutional environment if you can. And if you can't, that's the reason why you have secondments. You can always collaborate with someone else if there is lack of this specific information in your host institution. So generally, to be able to fill the rest of your project with specific information, you need to learn and understand as much as possible about the environment you are going to be working in. When you want to, or if you need to start somewhere, you should start always with yourself, because you are going to be the core person that is going to interact with this environment. So start with yourself. And what is really helpful is to do kind of a SWOT analysis of who you are, what are your strengths, and what are your weaknesses, because this will navigate your thinking in two areas. Number one, my strengths are something I can offer my host institution and they can benefit from. So, what are they? That's the first question. And when it comes to weaknesses, this is something I need to improve. So, this is something I should learn. From whom I will learn this, how I will learn this, and where I will need it. So these are again a couple of questions that can navigate your thinking when it comes to analyzing who you are. And then after you do this kind of basic analysis of your own strengths and weaknesses, try to pose them in the context of certain level certain levels within the future environment. So compare your analysis with a team, compare yourself with the institution, because sometimes the strength is within the team is something what others might have as well. But because others are busy, so probably the fact that you won't be that busy as the rest of the team at the beginning, for example, of your project means that your strength could be offered to the rest of the institution, and suddenly it is something the institution can benefit from. So even though in the context of the team it seems like, well, everybody knows this, but it might also happen that even though they know it, they don't have time to perform this activity or to perform this skill. While if you at the beginning have a little bit more time, so you can take your skill, take your strength, and offer it to a different part of the institution if it's beneficial, of course, for that institution. So, for example, you are running a good web pages or a blog, so you suddenly can communicate while topics that are relevant for your future team. So by collecting this information bit by bit, you will, just like an author writing a book or writing a story, uh, get a kind of information about the environment, and well, you will create much better plot for your future project story. So this would be the first recommendation for today. Do the SWOT analysis um, of yourself, put it into the context of the future institution and your team. And well, I wanted to keep it short because I think I am, well, attracting more and more attention. So what I would do is I would just take each week some topic and I will try to give some inspiration, because I think the longer you are going to be involved with project writing, the more lost you might start to feel, or the more lonely you will feel if you don't have anyone, like Alena mentioned, who would be able to read your project and give you feedback. So I will try to kind of simulate the situation that I will be reading your project and giving you feedback, which is going to be a bit challenge, but let's try if it works. So this is the first experiment in Violent Abbey, by the way. I didn't introduce this lovely place because I introduced this lovely place, I think, about the first or second video, which I started to record. And well, now I hope that the microphone is working, and well, that I didn't talk utter nonsense, which I probably did. But you know, I would kind of just, I'm thinking how I could help people without yeah, I also don't want to be bored by helping just to people I have never seen before. But still, there is a lot about project and particularly postdoctoral fellowship in my head. So it's pity to keep it just for myself if I can help someone. But still, I need to find a way that is going to be fun for me as well. So that's the reason why, not in the office, why today in this beautiful Violent Abbey, which not this place, but this part of England became for a while my home while I'm traveling. And so I hope you at least you didn't enjoy what I was talking about. You enjoyed the scenery. And anyway, I will really try to think it over. And the plan, I think, would be to go through all kind of topics just to give you really kind of fresh input, what you could consider, and what you could write about in your project proposal. Anyway, so the plan is to do one video a week, and if you have questions, that would help a lot. So I could just focus on replying those questions. And as I said, this is for free. I do it because I did it for 20 years, and it's pity to forget it all and just leave the field without sharing it with someone else. So anyway, well, have a great time and good luck with your writing. So that's all from me and from this charming place.